There is one positive effect of Brexit. The hometown of the German Stock Exchange is again one of the 10 most important financial locations in the world. The UK's exit from the EU is still comparatively fresh, but the consequences can already be felt. This was shown last week by figures from the British Statistical Office ONS. In January, British exports to the EU fell by 40.7%. Imports from the EU also fell by 28.8%. But of course, there are also beneficiaries of Brexit. One of them is the financial centre of Frankfurt. It has profited from the UK's exit from the EU and has become the most important financial centre in continental Europe, as a new analysis has shown. In the ranking of the Global Financial Centers Index, the GFCI, the banking city on the Main made it to 9th place among the world's most important financial centers, ahead of Zurich, Paris and Luxembourg, as the GFCI study on Wednesday showed, which is carried out every 6 months by the consulting firm Zien Group, and that's it. Because of Great Britain's exit from the European Union, numerous banks have moved to Frankfurt in recent years. According to the Financial Supervisory Authority BaFin, almost 60 licenses have been granted to financial institutions and insurance groups that have relocated their headquarters from London to the Hessian state capital. Thousands of new jobs have been created in the region. International institutions such as JP Morgan also moved assets there. The city in which Deutsche Börse and the two large institutes Deutsche Bank and Commerzbank are based has already made it into the GFCI's top 10. The last time it was in March 2019. In the past 2 years, Frankfurt has gained more points in relation to the evaluation in the index in the development of the financial center, the infrastructure and the business environment for banks, said Mike Wardle, director of the consulting firm Zien Group. Gerhard Wieshoy, president of the Frankfurt Main Finance Initiative, admitted that there was still a lot going on after Brexit. This condition is unstable and we must by no means put our hands on our laps. According to the GFCI survey, the world's most important financial center remains, unsurprisingly, New York. London lost a few points but still made it to second place, despite all the Brexit turmoil. This is followed by the Asian metropolises Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Beijing, Tokyo, and Shenzhen. Frankfurt ousted the US West Coast city of San Francisco from the top 10. The Global Financial Center Index was surveyed for the 29th time. 126 financial centers worldwide were examined according to criteria such as infrastructure, legal security, availability of qualified workers, and quality of life. And quality of life for students is another topic. Many German students dream of studying abroad in Great Britain. With the UK leaving the EU, studying like this has become more difficult. Now or never, thought Hannah Rusat when she decided to study for a master's degree at University College London last year. Before the end of the Brexit transition phase on December 31st, this was likely to be the last opportunity to study in the UK on EU terms. The 25-year-old psychology student has been living in the English capital with her British boyfriend since 2019. For him, she moved to the UK after completing her bachelor's degree in psychology. She's one of thousands of Germans currently studying in the UK. Great Britain is the third most popular country to study abroad after Austria and the Netherlands. 15,300 students from Germany were enrolled at British universities in 2018. This number is likely to decrease significantly in the future. Until the exit agreement between the EU and the UK, it was unclear which residence conditions would apply to students like Hannah Rusat in the future. In 2016, the British voted to leave the European Union. The transition phase has been over since the end of December last year, and the United Kingdom has left the EU for good. This changes a lot for German students. From August 2021, they will need a visa. It will be more difficult to get a work permit, and the tuition fees will rise. Erasmus has also ended after more than 30 years. The exchange program of the European Union made it possible for many students to spend a semester abroad. Instead of paying the British tuition fees, they paid the German university's semester fee. More than 3,400 students spent an Erasmus semester in Great Britain in 2018. Study visits to the United Kingdom that have already been approved will be carried out until 2023, and since this year it has no longer been possible to apply for the Erasmus program for the UK. Of course, for the rest you can still apply. For her one-year master's degree, Hannah pays tuition fees of £10,500. That's the equivalent of around 12,200 euros. If she were to start the same course a year later, it would be almost 3 times as much, namely £28,500. That's around 33,000 euros. Because until now, students like Hannah have paid the home fees, the same tuition fees that the British pay. From August onwards, EU students will fall into the overseas category. The home fees were already a challenge for self-payers. Now the dream of studying abroad in Great Britain is further a thing of the past. Hannah could not have afforded overseas studies this year either. If it hadn't been for Brexit, she would even have thought about studying part-time. Then I would have worked almost full-time and could have paid the tuition fees more easily, says the 29-year-old. Financing a degree in Great Britain will also become more difficult in the future. Hannah finances her studies with a loan from the British government. So far, EU students have been able to apply for British student financing and, for example, borrow up to £11,222 from the British government as part of the master's loan. As soon as graduates have a job and exceed a certain income limit, they start repaying 6% of their income plus interest, which is offset against the loan. That is no longer possible either. The only exception are students like Hannah who lived in Great Britain before the end of the transition period. Students starting their studies in the UK from this year must apply for a student visa if they wish to stay longer than 6 months. That costs £348, which equates to around 400 euros. In addition, financial support from BAföG will no longer be possible in the future. This hits bachelor students particularly hard who can only hope for one of the coveted scholarships that are advertised directly by British universities. Master students, doctoral candidates and researchers, however, can still apply for funding from the German Academic Service. In her bachelor's degree in Germany, Hannah crammed for exams. In England, she wrote essays as part of the examination. Critical thinking is rated much more strongly, and I can immerse myself in a topic, says the student. She likes the mixture of teaching and self-study, which encourages independent thinking. Although she only knows most of her fellow students as Zoom tiles, she's happy about the decision to study for a master's degree despite the pandemic. She soon starts looking for a job. That was recommended by the university's career center, she says. It is not easy to find a new job during the pandemic. She already has work experience in the UK, and her resident status allows her to live and work in the UK for at least 3 more years. Graduates wishing to work in the UK after graduation will have to apply for the UK government's graduate route. Bachelor and master graduates can then live and work in the UK for a maximum of 2 years, and PhD graduates for a maximum of 3 years. Successful applicants then have to pay £700, that's approximately 815 euros, for their visa. Great Britain is also a popular destination for doctorate. It was clear to Daniel Frey from Freising that he would do this PhD after completing his master's degree. Most of them do a PhD in biochemistry, says the 24-year-old. He hadn't expected that the first and only application for a doctoral program would work right away. Since October last year, he has been doing his PhD at the prestigious Oxford University, one of the best universities in the world. He finances his studies with a grant from the Wellcome Trust Foundation. The fees for his doctoral program have also more than tripled. The 4-year program now costs £27,460 per year, and all successful applicants continue to receive a full scholarship. Fortunately, because other scholarships only include the UK home fees, the difference must then be paid by the scholars themselves or offset by another scholarship. Daniel too might not have chosen to study in the UK if he had to pay the expensive overseas fees, even though his parents would support him, he says. The decisive factor for the doctoral student was not the reputation of the elite university, but the program. He appreciates the equipment, the international atmosphere in the laboratory, and the structure of the program in his DPhil degree in cellular structural biology. In the first year, there are 2 orientation internships on the plan, after which the focus is on their own research project. Studying at Oxford has become normal for Daniel Frey. At first, I was very awesome, says the doctoral student. The people he met here are all very down to earth. He particularly likes the college system at his university. Many students live on campus in one of the university's 39 colleges. That's perfect for meeting new people, he says. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.